Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing what's it called? This is Happening by LCD Soundsystem. This album is like an electronic dance music album. I guess you could call it IDM music for people. It's dance music for people that don't ever go to dances. So yeah, it doesn't get used very often, but it's a great album. Lots of very technical dance grooves and everything. It's really fun. A lot of people prefer Sound of Silver, LCD Sound System's 2007 album, but I feel like it is a great album. But I feel like this album knows a lot more about what it wants to be. It's a lot more focused. Like, it has a purpose, and it fulfills that purpose the most entertaining way it possibly could. Um, it starts off with "Dance Yourself Clean," and this song it has this uh, nice drum beat. Uh, if you could call it drums, it's certainly percussion, but it's more. It almost sounds like sort of canned, something you'd hear on like a maybe a Fiona Apple record, though definitely not as experimental as that, which isn't anything against it. It's just not as experimental, but it's equally enjoyable. And you get these really quiet vocals coming in. They're not mixed low, they're just quiet. Um, and they sort of go through these rounds, and then they have this beautiful except they sound a lot better than that. I am not a singer, so when I do stuff like that, it's gonna sound horrible, but it sounds really good on the album. And then you sort of follow it with these really nice, again, tiny synth lines. Sort of nostalgic, I'd say, but overall, really great. Before going back into the vocal lines, and then you repeat through that a couple times, and eventually these vocal lines start crescendoing, and then you get the synth line coming in, and then it stops, and you think it's just gonna go repeat through again, but instead you get this loud uh, 16th note drum fill, and then you hear these really loud synths, pretty big, coming in, and you get this awesome dance groove to go along with it, and it goes along for a while, and then eventually it goes back to the smaller bit to go through some more vocal lines before it goes back again to the bigger part, except instead of him singing, he just whispers loudly, if you consider that possible. He goes, "Shaw, shaw." But honestly, just a great start to the album. Following that is "Drunk Girls." The hook on this one I like a lot of drunk girls, drunk girls, drunk boys. It's and him just singing like stereotypes of drunk girls versus drunk boys. Very self-aware and very humorous. I like it a lot, even if it's not one of the best on here. It's still great. And then One Touch has these sort of hard to describe, but sort of silvery vocals that were heard a lot on their previous album. Um with these, it's sort of similar to Drunk Girls, I'd say, but it also has this sort of static, like noisy bit in your left ear. Uh, it sounds cool. Following that is All I Want, which has this epic guitar riff playing the entire time, that's distorted to a point where you can barely even tell it's a guitar. It's so distorted, um, but it's still super colorful. That's another thing about this album, is that it's like everything about it just is filled with color. All the production and the instruments, the instrumentation. It has like this. The production really brings out the personality in that, and what makes LCD Soundsystem such a good band. But you get this sort of repeating piano chord, these repeating piano chords in the background, and eventually this really, I guess I'd say, sprawling synth line comes in that it just feels really massive, and it's really sad. It fits the mood of the song, which is it's sort of like a ballad of sorts, except upbeat, something you can dance to while you're sad. Just great. It's one of my favorites on the album, even if it's not one of the more popular tracks, but it's really great. And following that is I Can Change with this. Um, really, I don't know how to say it. It's pretty odd synth beat. It almost sounds like something out of like the 80s. Maybe something Talking Heads would make. But it's really great. It has this change up into the chorus that I really like, and these sort of wind chimes that come and that give it this sort of mystical feel. It's just a lot of fun. Um, Following that is You Wanted to Hit, which is one of the more self-aware tracks, where you get these building fun synth lines in the beginning that sound really beautiful, and these sort of synthetic string lines before they're like building up, and then all of a sudden they start fading out into this simple guitar line, and the singer sort of sings about how the record companies want him to put out a hit, but instead he subverts it with this song, which is it's subversive, but not in a Last Jedi subversive, if you know what I mean. It's equally probably better than if they had decided to make a big hit song with all. But you get all these guitars, and then for the outro, they sort of all go haywire while still sounding really great. And then following that is Pow Pow, which is very lyrics driven. I've said it countless times, but I am not one to interpret lyrics. I am just terrible at it. I don't I get it wrong so often. I don't really know what they mean, but it is very lyrics driven. Maybe not one one of the strong points of the album, but it's still really great, and the instrumentation throughout just keeps building to the very end. Following that is sort of a low-key moment on Somebody's Calling Me, which is this, it has these underlying pianos to it that are sort of, they're very weird sounding. It's hard to describe. But then on the chorus, you get these this really weird computer-generated kazoo sound that my first listen, I was like, oh, this sounds awful. But it's definitely grown on me over time to be really interesting, and it adds a lot of flavor to the song. And then the closer, home, it feels really fresh and definitely like an outro, especially with the repeated vocal lines from Dance Yourself Clean, the ahs, but they're shifted a bit higher to sound more sunny sounding, more bright. Just a great closer to a perfect album. This album is a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Bye.